Three, two, one. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Artists in Depth podcast. We have two very fantastic guests this afternoon from the local Galveston band El Lago. We have Lauren Eddy, is that his name? Mm-hmm. And Charlie, what was your last name?
Eddy.
Charlie, oh yeah, that's right, dude. I totally forgot. See, I'm over here looking inexperienced as hell.
We're not brother and sister.
No, totally not brother and sister. You guys are married.
Yeah.
Well, how long you guys been married?
Charlie, is it 7?
8.
7.
Going on 8.
8. Yeah.
Going on 8.
Okay, that's fantastic. So I guess that's a good actual topic to jump into. So did you guys start the band before or after you guys got married? Have y'all been together for a while and just had an idea, or?
We kind of got to know each other playing music. Oh, am I talking on the wrong side?
Oh no, you're good.
Sorry. Yeah, we got to know each other playing music and got married later. But El Lago didn't exist till a while later.
Like 5 years ago.
Going on 5 years for El Lago?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So were you guys just kind of around in the same? Were you guys just part of like the same kind of music scene? Are y'all both from Galveston, or?
The really close Lamarck for Charlie, Texas City for me.
Okay.
And my brother Jake, who plays bass with us.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool.
It's
So
like a family.
yeah, real tight fan. That's really cool. That's really cool, actually. So you guys were just. So did you guys have your own bands at that time, and y'all are both kind of doing your own thing, or?
This is my first rock band for sure.
Yeah, it's my first rock band too. We used to play like acoustic guitar and acoustic drums.
Acoustic drums.
It was weird.
Yeah, so nothing kind of different. So you guys doing like
stuff.
Kind of folky, like indie kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. I do have to say, you guys were one of the first bands I saw starting to come to Galveston. I started to come down here more right before I moved. And I got to say, I think the first time I saw you guys was at Old Quarter. Shout out Old Quarter downtown. And I didn't really know who you guys were at all, but because I met Jaron like once.
Oh, okay.
And it was I randomly got the word from him. He was just like, "Oh yeah, man, I got my band's playing," because I was about to go back to Austin the next day, and he was like, "Oh man, my band's playing at this bar, a couple blocks away. If you want to check it out tomorrow night." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure."
Cool.
So like not really knowing anybody in Galveston, I went and saw. You guys blew me away. It was cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really like the way y'all's music is it's very soothing, and then it captures. Oh, this is my personal opinion. I don't know how to take it, but it captures emotion pretty well for me. It's a lot of y'all's songs are pretty well rounded with and just kind of like how you go into it and be a little thrashier, and but then like just like soft and mellow to some songs. That This Is How It Ends song that y'all did the music video to recently. Yeah. Tell Me How It Ends. There we go. That one, especially after I was listening to it before the music video came out, but man, I think with that music video it captured it really well.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, because that song was fantastic. It was honestly nostalgic. Every time I listen to that song, I sit and like think of it. No, it's really weird, man. Like you guys have really good sound to the point where I'll sit there and just like think about running around with my friends and like riding bikes and doing all these cool things. So why did you guys pick that song in particular for your music video?
Oh, our listeners picked that song. We didn't choose it as a single or anything because it's hard to have perspective about that, and it just got a lot of plays on Spotify, and so we were like, well.
Yeah, I think it had more than any of the others, and we were like, well, I guess that's the next music video.
Yeah.
Which is what's cool about Spotify and streaming is you get feedback like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you all the statistics straight up, and yeah, well, that's really cool. That's actually so that's something that I think a lot of artists don't really think about, just because. I got a couple friends of mine like in the hip hop scene, that they're trying to, they want to dive into doing music videos and doing different things, but even as obvious as it may sound to be like, oh yeah, use your most popular song as a music video. They're always kind of just like, well, man, I blew all this money and doing this music video for this song, and no one's really vibing with it. And, and I'm like, well, what is this? What does your statistics look like for that song? And they're like, oh, it's one of my lower songs, but it's the song I like the most.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's one of those things, especially as a performing act. Sometimes like it might not be your favorite song, but it's what the people want, so you got to go for it.
Mm-hmm. It's still a fun song to play.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
We wrote it with this annoying keyboard. What was that?
It was like
from a thrift store.
Yeah, like a Casio, like one of those battery powered keyboards that you can like hit play and it'll just like play this random terrible like
we were losing our
backing
minds.
track. And it was like there were like 4 or 5 options, and the one I think we were using it says disco, and we just wrote all of our different parts around that song, around that disco beat on the crappy keyboard.
It was so obnoxious.
It was
we were just getting grouchy.
Yeah, I think we all got in a fight.
But it sounds fun because it has that annoying disco bouncy keyboard in its origins.
yeah, that's long. That didn't make it onto the recording.
Well, that's actually really cool. Then that's a very unique way to write a song. Get the idea for this song.
Maybe we should do it again because that was like our most popular song.
Well, it's crazy how that works sometimes too. Like the most random things you create sometimes, or end up being the most popular, or even even to a personal opinion, your best piece. Mm-hmm. When you just kind of throw it together, because you kind of channel that raw creativity and like that flow state. Where you just kind of jump into it. Because a lot of people, especially artists out there, if there's any musicians listening, writing anything, whenever you try to focus too hard and you try to think too hard and you get, it's good to have a little bit of critique on yourself, and when you get a little too rough, it can get really frustrating.
Yeah, although we do kind of torture ourselves when we write, like the 4 of us try to write live. Mm-hmm. It's not always like super smooth flow experience. We kind of...
Yeah, it's more like jam for a long time and then maybe record it with our cell phone and then try to tear it apart and make it into a structure that makes sense to us.
Yeah, we destroy the original.
Almost always.
Yeah, it's painful. So sometimes it hurts too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of sacrifice. I mean, like with the friend I was talking about, he really didn't want to let his prize song go. And he did, he had higher hopes for it, but sometimes just.
But it's cool that he just went for it anyway.
Yeah.
Because you do have to do, like you do have a favorite, and if you invest the time to make the video and it's pleasing to you, then that's important too. It's good to be able to do both.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Find that balance in between, to where it's giving the people what they want, but also doing what you want at the same time. Because if you're not fully enjoying what you're doing and you're not, I don't know, kind of turns into I don't know, kind of like a slave situation to where, like, well, a lot of artists get caught up in that, like bigger artists. I mean, it was more so prominent, like, way back when, labels were taking over everything and making everybody write everything, and they didn't.
Yeah, it's still, like, we randomly had tacos with a musician we like, John Vanderslice, when was that, Monday? And he was talking about, like, how if you get onto festivals and you get paid X amount, then you get into like this competitive mindset where you're touching like the next level, and so you just get
you're like,
you're feeding this machine.
Maybe next year they'll pay me like another $1,000 to do this thing, but then he said eventually you'll peak out, and then like a year or 2 later you'll be like, oh, I peaked out. I'm on the downhill.
Mm.
Well, it's just interesting. Like there are some benefits to being smaller and not having like the big money coming through, and you're not blowing up, but you're also just able to focus on what you love to do without those, I guess, pressures.
Yeah.
Of like I have like an agent and a manager and all these people that I need to make money to sustain.
Mm-hmm.
We're a much smaller. Local band is a much smaller machine.
Yeah, we don't have anybody on payroll.
Contract labor.
Yeah.
Well, and all those things definitely can change the scope on like just like the writing process too.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you have those different, variants that can affect your writing. Like if you have a small local scene, you're a smaller band, then you get to tap into more like home inspired things, and but
True.
but when you're on the road, you got a label and you got a whole team of people. You gotta go out and make these experiences to write about or something.
So yeah,
I don't know.
it's just different, So it's not. It's easy to like think, oh, I want to be like that, but there's some cool things about being local and smaller.
Yeah. So so you guys played. Was that In Bloom last year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, so I remember I talked to, and those for don't know, I was about to mention Jaron.
Yeah.
Jaron's also been on episode number 1 and episode 24, if y'all want to go hear him a little bit. But I was talking to him the day before y'all performed, and, just getting to play on, like how big, we all played on one of the bigger stages?
It was massive, it was horrifying.
Yeah,
it was huge.
It was the main stage.
Y'all played on,
like early in the day.
Yeah, y'all played on the same main stage that Incubus headlined.
No,
that night, or it was a different one?
Incubus played on the smaller stage.
Really?
Oh,
which was
that sounds wrong, but yeah, Beck and
it was funny because
I think headline.
Yeah, on the big stage.
One.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. Like I don't know why we were up there.
Yeah, Grizzly Bear played on that stage. Sylvanessa played on that stage.
Jaron owned it too. He got a longer cable just so he could like run all the way down the stage and run all the way
Yeah, he
back.
got like a 30-foot cable or something.
Yeah, he owned it.
Yeah, it was good.
Man,
it was terrifying.
It took us like the first song to be like, oh, actually, we do need stuff in our monitors.
Yeah, you don't even know what to ask for in your monitor because you're like, oh yeah, I don't need the drums in my monitor, and then you realize like the kick and the snare are like way out there, like miles away.
You're like, whoa,
like bouncing back, and you're like, actually, I do need some kick and snare. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because whenever you're out there and there's so much projecting off that massive stage, like the whole sound dynamic has got to be crazy, especially because you're outside too.
Yeah.
And if so, I guess for In Bloom is the same place where they did Free Press,
right,
the same company.
It was formerly known as, and they moved it from summer to spring and rebranded, and then they pulled the plug. So I don't think it's happening anymore.
Man, well, I know the city gets pissed off after that festival because I know after I went to Free Press 14 and 15. And I know after 14, they moved it to the Energy Park because after 14, the Bayou Park down there was destroyed because it kills all the grass right there on that lawn. The grass is dead. Everybody's standing there and pouring their drinks and who knows what in the grass. So was the stage y'all were at? Did they set it up over by like Miller Theater, kind of like off Allen Parkway, like by that big hill, or which main stage did y'all have?
I don't know. It's sort of like disorienting because it's completely transformed for the festival. So
yeah,
it was definitely, I think it was off Allen Parkway, like you were walking down, right? You were walking up and down the street.
Yeah, so there were 4 stages. Close to downtown was like, I guess it was like you walk in the main gate and then there's a stage that's kind of backed up against downtown, and then you keep walking down the path and there's like another stage pointed.
I'm sure there's a map online.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen again.
Yeah, so, historical moment is over.
Yeah, well,
it's a tragedy, though. It was fun.
I mean, that's super cool, and that's a really cool opportunity y'all got to have there doing that. Because, I mean, people, I mean, me, I remember as a kid, I mean, this is like crazy astronomical, but I remember when I watched, it was like a performance Metallica did when they played in Russia. They played in Russia. They played a show. It was like Metallica, AC/DC, and Pantera.
Okay, yeah.
And it was like a 3-band thing, but it was back in like 1991. So the speaker systems were much bigger, but they had like a 7-story stack of speakers.
Oh yeah, those arrays. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that.
It was crazy. Yeah, and they had that set up, but it was a free show in Russia, so they had to bring the military out, and they had about 1 million people in attendance.
Control.
So you look at from the stage and it's just like endless, like literally the horizon is people.
That was not what our set was.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I remember ever since I saw that though, I've wanted to play on a festival stage.
Fingers crossed we all get to do it.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you guys have so what's it looking like coming up this year? You guys got any shows you're excited about?
There's we booked the release show for the EP October 25th, Old Quarter, because we love Joel and Angela. They're the best, so we're doing it there. I haven't figured out. Oh, in Houston is going to be Satellite Bar on October 26th.
Sweet.
So,
Y'all doing like kind of like a little mini local EP, little mini series of shows, or?
Yeah, we're hoping to do Austin and make it up to Denton, and we're probably not going to be able to tour until next year, but just sort of like around Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's awesome. Do you have a? So what did you guys just release before this? Because I remember last year you guys released a good amount. Did y'all release an album last year?
Oh man, it just. I guess,
the record came out, or Colors came out. Colors, the record came out in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
late
The fall,
2017.
like November.
So it's been a while since we put out anything, but we're hoping to have some singles drop. And one of them's supposed to drop pretty soon.
Yeah.
Maybe this month, maybe next month. Depends on when it gets placed. It's kind of like a waiting game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So actually, and there's a question I forgot to get back. So I'm actually gonna put I'll put the link for everyone in the description for the music video. So we gotta go check it out. I always wanted to ask. So what inspired the? I mean, it might be something to do with the lyrics that I didn't pick up on. But what
the surrealist stuff.
Yeah. What inspired the shadows and the shades and the ghosts?
Yeah. I think it was I think it was about, it's called Tell Me How It Ends, and I don't remember where in my head. I was baking at Mod at the time when all that stuff was like, when you're doing something manual, like your mind doesn't have to be on it, you kind of wander.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had a meeting with the director to talk ideas, and I don't know, all this stuff was floating around. But it's sort of like chasing like your future a little bit, like how we're all. It's hard to be satisfied in the present. We're all pushing forward and wondering what's around the corner. So, but how we came up with that ridiculous, like, I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, they were like, well, they could be sort of like apparitions, like you're chasing kind of like your.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like
some of them
the ghost
maybe
of the
negative,
future,
some of them might be positive.
Yeah, some of them might be neutral.
Yeah.
Or some of them might appear positive or negative, but not be.
I feel like it's that meme. Okay.
Anyway.
No, you're good. Well, what's really cool for everyone listening that's in the Galveston area, if you know the Galveston area, there's lots of really funny kind of inside jokes throughout the music video that are hilarious. Like, the first one I noticed off the bat at y'all's release party, whenever...
Is it when Jake goes for the door
Jake
handle?
goes for the door handle at O'Malley's.
I'm glad people,
there's a bar downtown, O'Malley's, and they have two door handles on the back of on the door on the inside. And if anybody goes there, I'm not going to tell you which one's the right one to open, but just remember what side of the door you opened from.
And like the day drinking kind of thing that's happening. We're like, is that too much beer to have in a video? We kind of backed off the beer for the next one. But we are just about to drop one where Clark from India Tigers has like this whole intro in the beginning, and he's like the metal detector guy at the beach, which is like kind of a Galveston joke too. It's just fun to do stuff like that.
Clark totally looks like a metal detector guy.
He's so good. I was blown away. He's like A-list. He's a star. I was like, y'all need to make some music videos and put this man to work. He's very good.
Dude, Clark is that, Clark's, everyone go check out episode 1. Clark's in there. Clark is actually a pretty exceptional human being that I didn't, because the first time I met Clark, I moved down here, I kind of got the wrong impression,
Right, you're like this guy.
I met him first, and he didn't have a beard first time I met him, and he was kind of drunk, and it was actually it was before the proletariat was the proletariat, so it was like the empty space, and it was like this event, and I was
the DIY space back
and I was doing a little bit of DJing with my cousin, and we were doing some DJing before Galaxy Cat was about to come on, and back when the Galaxy Cat days,
the predecessor to India Tigers,
and but my cousin, that was back, he was DJing a lot of EDM music, so he was playing a lot of that. And Clark just comes up to both of us, it's kind of drunk, and he was like, hey, he's like this music you're playing sucks, can I play some Allman Brothers or something?
Nice.
And he was just, and it was while they were setting up, and I was just like, dude, is this guy already drunk before they start playing? And I had this low expectation, but then they played, and I was like, oh, that was actually really good. And that was fantastic, and then started talking to him more and became cool. And then I keep finding out crazy things about Clark. Yeah. We were in his apartment the other day, and there's this picture of him like in a gi with a sword, like
Oh yeah.
like standing on some rocks with
Because
a
he used to
yeah.
teach martial arts or something.
Yeah.
As a black belt.
Yeah, dude. I
Something
was like,
like that.
well, because at first I was like, I was making the joke totally, and I was like, bro, did you go to like Walmart and get a glamour shot done? Like, what is this? And he's like, oh no, man, I'm like black belt taekwondo, and I was like, hold on. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, dude, I used to teach it. Dude, it's not a big deal. And I was like, bro, what do you mean? This is like a superpower I didn't know you had.
He has some superpowers.
He's got some
We
superpowers.
did a can set with him. We covered can for like a Halloween show. I was like, can you do like that 70s guitar like stuff? And he's like, you mean like this? I'm like, yeah. That's it. Like, he's got superpowers.
No, he's just a great guitar player. Yeah, so I guess I could go into so as individual musicians, I guess starting with you, Lauren, if you want. How did you get started with your guitar playing and songwriting?
Well, my parents aren't musical or anything. My mom was a dancer. She did like ballet and stuff, and she wanted us to do something musical because she kind of missed out on it. So she signed me up for piano, and I hated it. It was awful. So I asked her, "Oh, please let me take guitar lessons," and she did. She's really cool.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, and nobody in my family played instruments, but I think I saw people playing instruments on TV, and I was like,
"You have any key influences?"
Can I do that?
Television.
Yeah, the television.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's playing around you. That's where you see like, oh, people with guitars and drums.
Drums looked fun on TV.
Do you have any main influential idols for drumming that have really got you going?
Man, I've definitely. I mean, I probably focus on different drummers at different times, but probably one of my favorite drummers is the drummer from Radiohead.
Oh yeah,
Phil Selleck, because
he like throw a stone and hit a Radiohead fan.
Yeah, I mean they're a big band and people like them. I like them, but it's mostly because he's got such a he's not like a hard drummer. Like it's like he uses a lot of smaller cymbals and stuff, and the drum kit he uses is pretty small, so it's kind of contained sounding. But in the mix, it sounds huge. So I don't know.
No, no. I mean, like that's really awesome. That's something I didn't get into until later. Kind of dipping into different forms of art, and it's a big thing I talk about on the show. Just inspire multiple artists to do. Just kind of dabble with some different mediums and different styles. Especially in a specific genre, like to do, like in the drums. Like I grew up, like metal drummer, so I was following metal bands. Like when I was younger, it was the older metal bands, like Metallica and Slayer and them, and then I started getting more into like kind of tech stuff and more like hard rock. If you're like I don't know, like earlier Stained before he started making country music, wow. and but like different stuff like that, and then but I didn't start dabbling until it's like sophomore year of high school, when I just kind of fell into playing drums for jazz band. That I didn't really jump into any of that. And then my because the drummer at the time, so he had like appendicitis, so he had to bounce. He had to bounce. So he was out of school for like a month, and so he was like, they were like we have taps coming up, who can play. So I was a marching band playing drums. They were like, here, just the jazz band instructor gave me like 2 Miles Davis CDs and like 2 other jazz players and
which one?
Kind of Blue or whatever, blue one, and then I can't remember the other one because 2 of the songs we played in jazz band we were performing was Freddie Freeloader and So What.
That's Miles Davis.
And then I forget the name of the other CD. But then I was dipping into that and I was like, whoa. So it was kind of cool adding to the style a little bit. I started playing more and more jazz and I kind of stopped playing metal for a little bit. But then when I came back to playing metal, I was playing it really
Oh,
jazzy,
wow, yeah.
you know. So, but it was cool because then it has a unique sound, and that's like the first time I got a taste of okay, dabbling in different stuff can make your sound more unique.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to ask y'all that because actually, what would you guys call yourselves? You guys like alternative or what would
You
you?
probably fit there.
Yeah.
At a record store, they say they put us in like alternative / indie or something or local.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's one of the things I noticed from y'all is just y'all have a very well-rounded and different sound that I can tell. You know, you guys got from a couple different inspirations or different things y'all have learned. Especially like Charlie, your drum kit is really cool because it's very unique, and you have the big kind of like more slender but big round. What is that like how many inches?
Is it 20?
Yeah. 28 is the
28?
one I normally play.
Yeah, because I'm used to playing like the standard like 22-inch like rock band, and then when I saw it that first time, I was just like staring at the kit the whole time. I was like, man, what? I was like, how? I was like, I don't get it, because when I saw you setting it up, I was like, I don't get it. Like, where's all because it's very different, and I was like, because I'm used to
It fit in the old Honda we had really well.
It's easier to pack. You think it'd be weird, but it's like you can put it on top of things. It doesn't have to be like on the floor or on the seat or whatever.
Yeah.
It can just be like way up on the top of the pile.
You cycle through things a lot though. Like you'll buy cymbals on eBay and then try them out and then maybe sell them until you find something you like.
Yeah.
You kind of experiment.
Yeah, I think it's nice because you can try different things, and then whenever you finally go to record, you can have some options.
Yeah.
I think it makes a big difference.
Used gear is really nice though.
Yeah,
so you're not always blowing through money on like brand new stuff.
Yeah, just to find out that it doesn't work in the band setting.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, I think, especially for drummers in particular, I think used gear, especially if you find something worthwhile for a good price, I think that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Because one thing, like as I was telling you earlier before we went live, I ordered a new drum set, but I love getting the new drum set. I love unpacking it, and, putting the new heads on and everything, but I hate breaking things in.
Oh yeah.
Because it doesn't sound right until I fully break it in, and I'll sit there and I look like a frustrated toddler when I get when I get new drum heads, because I'll sit there and just like smack them really hard in like some areas. Just part of my tuning process.
Is this why people bury cymbals and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like speaking of old jazz people, the cymbal's too bright. Why don't you bury it in your backyard for a month?
Yeah,
no, it's not bright anymore.
No. Yeah, like that was, oh man, I forget. So I don't know, Buddy Rich is. Yeah. I mean, like the dude, Buddy Rich is like, Buddy Rich is one of the drumming prophets of the world. But one of the things I really took from him that was cool is that he wouldn't, even if he had all this money and he had drum sponsors and everything, if he had some broken cymbals, he wouldn't necessarily throw them all away. Like, because he would be like, oh, it's not broken, it just has a different sound now. So you can do it for different things. And he was one of the first ones really doing the little ball chain that you can put on your cymbal. And when you hit it, it has a little little sizzle effect. But he was doing that with all kinds of different things, and different sounds and stuff. Yeah. Shout out Victor. Victor's been like,
oh
yeah. Victor was just like, man, have you read this Buddy Rich book? And I was like, no. And he sent me some stuff from it. And I've just been looking through it. Blastat. Yeah, back with the New Tigers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Because it's really cool. It's just because since with drummers we kind of we just beat on things. So but just finding the different things you can hit and to make noise with and just find music, and I always thought was amazing. And just that small lesson of not automatically thinking it's trash because you cracked it. It just has a different sound now. Yeah. Kind of opened my eyes up to like.
You cracked one recently, and you had Evan cut it out.
Yeah. I didn't crack it, but I bought it cracked.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
It sounds. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, cool. So it had like
Those are Swiss
had like a crack, and then did you like
Yeah.
do holes, or did you just do like an edge off the
Yeah,
side of it?
yeah. I've been just cut a like
It's
a
like somebody with
semicircle out of
really
it.
straight teeth bit into it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. There is because now it's wasn't always. I mean, it's been going on for a little while now, but now just it's funny walking around Guitar Center now and seeing or somewhere a music shop and seeing like a section of trash cymbals.
Nice.
Like the label is trash cymbal, and like it's the ones that have been all perforated and different holes and different sounds
Yeah.
and like now I was like, wow, so they took probably Buddy Rich's advice or whoever that like, oh yeah, no, we can just do this on purpose, or if there's symbols we messed up on, let's just poke a hole in it and sell it as a trash symbol. It's like business side and music side, it's creative. Yeah, so I guess I'll get to the meat of just what artists want to know, and coming from what you guys have, and especially like the family togetherness aspect that you guys have of y'all's music. So for all the artists listening that may have a little bit of trouble with their songwriting, or maybe they're in a see, and that's perfect. Trouble with their songwriting, or maybe they're in a band with their sibling or their spouse or something, and like try to power through things, or or even if they're not musicians, even if they're in some kind of venture with their family creating art, because I don't think this gets talked about enough. What is something you guys could say that can maybe give them a little encouragement, or maybe even just kind of bring it down to earth that they're not alone, that we all deal with stuff.
Yeah, we're getting family. It's funny, Jaren, we found out, is the cousin of our cousin. We have like a mutual cousin. Like, we're not blood related, so it's like really a family band. But it can be challenging sometimes. I think with any band though, putting too much pressure, it's hard. It's hard to have perspective. I think giving people space, because you can tend to be like really resentful if things aren't, if not everybody feels like working on it as much at that moment, or availability, or whatever it is. And I think to just hold people with a really loose grip, is if you squeeze any tighter, people, are going to want to get out. So, and it makes it difficult to work together. So,
it's better to
give people space. Yeah. And be really, like, you kind of have to recondition yourself sometimes, because you get into this like echo room of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And you start being like, I can't believe that, this happens when you have a collaborator, and it can happen. It can get very toxic in your brain. You have to kind of like intentionally remain positive and cut people slack, and hope that they do the same for you, because it's just hard to work together,
Yeah,
it's the same like that.
I think really you just have to accept that everything takes more time than you want it to.
Oh, that's
and
true,
that's
yeah.
If you just do that, then it's like not that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And just like be patient. Like, it takes a long time to have enough good new ideas that don't sound like something else, and or look like something else, because it's hard to come up with artwork. I think is the hardest part.
Yeah,
videos are fun though. Videos are a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not always business.
Yeah, absolutely. What I thought was really cool from what you just said was about the process, right? Because what I've noticed with a lot of people nowadays, especially with everyone being so accustomed to instant gratification, with their phones and just whatever is going on right now, and even just like the media, because now more than ever, people
feed the feed.
Yeah, and people promote all the good things that are happening, but they don't show what it took to get there. People are just like, man, I wish I was a rapper so I could go do this and all this money and houses. But it's like, bro, do you realize what else they're doing? Like, they got like their manager up on them. They got people all kinds of crazy. They got to like everybody's like, but they get to fly to a different place every day. I was like, yeah, to work. They're not like they're not jumping from vacation to vacation.
And that's any venture. Working at a coffee shop, people come in and like, this is cute. I could do this. And you just don't imagine all the back end that goes into a small business of any kind, or anybody's life is way more complicated than it looks from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what we do, just living your life is a lot more complicated than it looks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we've gotten that at the deli a couple times, where there's like, oh, it's just making sandwiches, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I wish it was just making sandwiches.
Yeah, like all we make is ham sandwiches.
Yes,
It's only ham, and mustard. That's it.
Yeah, it's ham, mustard, and maybe bread. Sometimes we just
only wheat bread.
sometimes we just give you a handful of ham and mustard.
Yeah, there's a lot in the business side of it too. Like
yeah,
I don't feel like we get to write songs or actually play as much as all the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's also important for any musicians listening, especially if you're trying to play shows and promote yourself. We all love playing, and that's how we get into it. But it's not all just playing music and playing shows. And honestly, just the act of playing shows gets difficult. Because you got to get everybody there. You got to deal with the venue owners. You got to you got to deal with the crowd, make sure they're cool. Loading.
Yeah.
And every now and then you get stuck with a really shitty sound guy, and it gets rough.
Or the room is just really.
Or the room's just bad and real flat room, and it's just not fun. But also the business side, that's where a lot of bands, especially if they're trying to grow. If no one in the band, someone really takes like one or two, like that's how we do it in ours. I do kind of a little art. I'm new into the band, but these are like friends of mine from high school, but the guitarist Trey, who was the drummer, shout out Trey, shout out Ominous Necro as well. We're a death metal band, but he does a lot of the booking and the shows, and he has the connections with these venue owners. And he's also in another band. He plays guitar in our band, plays drums in another band. But having someone like that, I think, is really important. Because obviously it can get, and honestly, it would get hectic if everyone in the band was taking care of booking and scheduling.
It's a little chaotic. It's hard to pass that message along through so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. So having those key characters,
somebody's got to do like the accounting and the deposit, and there's just a lot. Somebody's got to count the merch at the end of the night. And,
you got to count the merch. You got to, if you have a jam space you pay for, you got to pay rent on that. That's what we do. Like everybody, any musicians listening in the Houston area, I know you've played or practiced at Francisco Studios at least once. I don't know if y'all have been there. Man, a lot of local Houston bands, Francisco Studios is over off of it's in between Lamar and McKinney downtown. It's right next to the Dynamo Stadium. And it's just this huge, it's like an old hospital, but it's this huge building. It looks like it's abandoned. Like on the outside, there's like plywood and shit and whatever, but on the inside, the owners actually redid it a little bit. They painted.
Yeah. Bug Bites, I think, posted something like, "Oh, here's a picture of us in Francisco Studio."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a challenge. You make noise. Where do you do that?
Yeah, and it's really cool too, because a lot of those rooms, they're just like padded down and just have one door, no windows, unless you go to the top and you rent a corner space and you get some windows.
Oh, cool.
If it's not plywood. But it's a really cool spot to jam. But if you have
elevators?
No.
Oh man.
No. And
doesn't look so good.
Yeah. Oh no. And it's funny. What's funny about that? Since they don't have elevators, the rooms up closer to the top are actually cheaper.
All right.
A lot of apartment complexes and stuff. The higher up you go, they just got the central air fixed.
People work hard. People suffer for this stuff.
Oh yeah. It's
writing with no AC. That sounds.
How to break your
man.
band.
Very difficult in most of the year.
Yeah. Whenever I first started, first time I ever went there to practice with a band, I was a junior in high school, and I had to cover for my friend's band because he got a staph infection in his throat. Which
like
dude, like 2 times I've had to cover for drummers because of some type of illness. Health concerns. But we were practicing there, and when I was there, it was the summer before senior year, so I guess I wasn't technically a junior anymore. But there was no central air in there. I know that for a fact.
Man, at least you're young and resilient,
Dude, I was over there, and actually, when I was in high school, I was way bigger than I am now. So I could play drums. I was very out of shape and not really there with it. So after carrying the drums up there, I was done, just drenched. And they were like, all right, let's practice. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, hopefully.
Can we do that somewhere else?
Yeah, can we do it? And one plus me not really knowing what I was doing, I just knew the songs. Like I'm up there, they were like a ska band, and I'm rolling up there with like 2 bass drums and my metal setup. Like my original metal setup was ridiculous, like 2 bass drums, like, and they were just like, bro, why do you need all this shit?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because it's funny because I started loading my drums up there, but when I just met the people, I met them in the parking lot as I was loading shit.
Mm-hmm.
My homie made the connection, but then they were just like, bro, you don't need all this, and it takes up a whole quarter of the room, just my set,
And if you load enough, eventually it makes you lighten the load. You're like, I'll leave that at home. I'll get a smaller amp. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite memes is like when it's like your drum set before before your first show, and it has like Neil Peart from Crazy Drum Set, and it was like your drum set at the end of your 3rd show, and it's just like it was just like a kick, a snare, and a hi hat.
Yeah, like is there that?
Yeah, it's like I don't need this anymore. No, but I guess where I was going with all that, see, I was talking about tangents happen. Where I was going with all that though was everyone just needs to know to, instead of, I mean, of course we all want to get to the outcome, but instead of focusing on the outcome, try to enjoy the process more.
Yeah, and you just can't rush things sometimes. Like if you're not ready for the next batch of songs, you're not ready for it, and or at least that's how we are.
You
give
find
yourself
out
some space to recover and let things kind of simmer in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and absolutely. One of my band teachers, shout out Mr. Staub. I don't know if he's listening. What's funny, it's so all the band members in my band, especially because they added me, we all had the same band teacher. We were all in marching and concert band in school. So we want him to come out to one of our shows, but I don't think metal is really his forte. So I don't know if he's going to come out or not.
Late too,
Yeah. He's got his doctorate and his kid now. I don't even know if he's going to make it out. But one thing he used to tell me though was because I was always trying to rush things, and I wanted to play the best, and especially for marching band, and of course the percussion section in a marching band were always like angsty and like kind of mean. But but one thing he told me, he was like, man, he's like, what's the best fruit you've ever had in your life? And I was like, oh, like a watermelon. I love watermelon. And he was like, cool. He was like, so do you think that just to grow the best watermelon in your life, that farmer went out there and just said, give me the watermelon, and it just grew and you picked it and that was it? And I was like, well, no, dude, it'd take a long time. It had to grow and had to do this stuff. And he was just like, exactly. And I was like, oh, like, my young brain, even though it's like it's a simple, exactly. It's a simple lesson, but I was just like, I was like that was freshman year. But it was summer before freshman year when I was coming, because he was my band teacher in 8th grade, because like I was in a private school system. So he was my band teacher in 8th grade, but the high school I was going to, he was the director there.
Okay.
Yeah. So but ever since then though, I was just like, oh, so now instead of focusing on the outcome, I like to try to focus on the process, because, like, especially after something finishes and something's done, what do you sit back and reminisce? The process.
Okay,
that it was fun, so that's the fun part. And, it gives you something to chase. That's why I love the process. Of course you celebrate when you get there, but the chase is what it's about.
You go right back to the chase.
Yeah, exactly.
Celebrate very long.
Yeah, it's like, woo, celebrate, we did it. You wake up the next day like, all right, what's next? Let's go.
Mm-hmm. That's what's funny about like getting your master's back and you're driving around on Seawall and you're like tearing up because you did it. And then the next day it's like, okay, let's continue to be ambitious and try to do something else. It's like so short-lived.
Yeah, so like, dang it, now we have to come up with a new, like...
Yeah, you just move on all the rest of your to-do list.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great though. It's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why. So we got the Sandcastle competition coming up. For everybody that's listening, August 24th at East Beach in Galveston, AIA Sandcastle competition 2019. Galveston local. We are the only local Galveston group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, has been that way for the 3rd year now.
Oh, it's the 3rd year.
Yeah, y'all just did the sign-up thing. The sign-up event last night.
Yeah, we did the sign-up event last night, and it actually went really well. We actually have less team members than last year. So the first year, there was like 16 of us from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That's a lot.
I
did a lot of
Were you there the
struggle.
second year?
Yeah, I was there the second year. There were a lot of people.
Yeah, you were there last year. I remember we were, and so, last year we had about 62 was the exact number. Serena told me we had 62 people last year. And then, But then this year, I think we have like 40 something. But I mean, it's still
I'm
great.
still planning to sign up. Is it too late?
You have till the 29th.
Okay.
Yes, so you can totally still sign up. And then
It is to 62, Charlie.
it gets 62.
At least get to 40. The next number in the 40s.
Well, and after this, I can totally give you guys the link if you want to check it out. We have it on the David Watson website. You can just sign up online. And if anybody else wants to sign up, it's davidwatsonarchitect.com/Galveston local, and you sign up. You get a T-shirt. It's like $20. You get a T-shirt. You get free beer and food and drinks all day. You get to build sandcastles, which is fun. You can choose really any team you want to be on. You know, like there's the site crew and the building crew and the design crew, and I'm one of the team leads for design crew.
I like the dirt.
Yeah, that's building crew, and it's actually very important. Building crew shines in the beginning because we have
the shovel.
Yeah,
put it in the bucket.
Yeah, and you have to watch out for chopping toes though, because we had some augers and shovels out there last time. So but I was just seeing people's naked feet, and I was just hearing it. I was hearing the shovel chop in the sand, and I'm like, ah.
Oh man, I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah.
Your brain goes to dark places.
Oh yeah. Whenever I'm
it's good though. It helps keep you from actually.
Oh yeah.
doing that.
No, for sure. One of my things I go around and do, especially because I don't really kick in for design and sculpting until after the forms are built and everything. But I walk around the whole time. I'm like, make sure you're not chopping toes.
Safe up.
Yeah, I'm like sunscreen here. I might move some sand.
That's right. Somebody's got to slather it on again. I know you did, but did you get your ears?
Oh yeah, no.
Was it 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
No. The site team's very important. People walking around with sprayed screen, or if they're okay with touching strangers, just a little lather on the back of the neck. It's okay. But it all has to come together to do it. And but yeah, it'd be really cool if you guys want to come out and do that. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm about it. It's fun.
I'm staying quiet because I know it's really early in the morning. It's not my thing.
Right? Well, yeah, and traffic gets crazy. So the best time to come is early in the morning, because other than that, you get stuck.
And the heat too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, hopefully we've had some great weather the past couple of days. Well, all right, guys. Did you guys have any I know your social media? You're at El Lago Band.
Yeah, everything's all Lago Band.
Okay, at everything. You guys got what platforms are you guys on?
Instagram, Twitter. We have Facebook, of course.
We have a website.
Website.
Is it YouTube?
You have to have all this stuff these days. SoundCloud.
We have a Songkick.
Ooh, Songkick.
Yeah, bands in town.
Man, just make it stop, right?
So for you guys, website ellagoband.com or
yeah, that's it. Try to, that's a good thing to do, is try to keep them all uniform if you can.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's our big word of advice to anybody.
No, it's a big one.
Stop changing.
It's the little
you
things.
You gotta finesse it while you're young,
Yeah,
and
finesse.
figure out what one isn't taken on every platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And just claim it. That was one of the big. I took a shout out to Brian Gendron. I took a little class of his at U of H and HCC partnered through this, but they do these classes downtown, which are like small business at the Small Business Development Center.
Oh, cool.
And you can take little classes, on hiring employees or taxes. But this guy Brian Gendron, he's been doing great in his business. He's been he has one doing how to set up a podcast.
Oh,
and that's what I had all my ideas for this.
Cool. So practical. You don't see that very often.
Oh yeah, and I had all my ideas to do it. It was for if you didn't know what you were doing, so I was kind of ahead. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of stuff like that I didn't think about. Like one of the whole sections, because it's a 3-hour class, one of the sections we talked about was get the domains for everything.
Oh yeah.
He was buy up the domains because I raised the question. I was like, yeah, but if it takes a while to blow up? He's just like, look, man. He's like, you could blow up in 10 years. You could blow up tomorrow.
Yeah, be ready.
You don't know. And if if you get popular, because you can see it on Instagram and other things, the fan pages that just repost everything but have thousands of followers, or the YouTubes that just repost things but still make money. you know, like you want to watch out for stuff like that, but you want to just take all the handles, you know, and that's really cool. Like, and especially if you want to be found easily.
Exactly.
If you have the same name for every handle on every platform, they could just Google that and they get all the platforms.
Right. And same thing with having like a bio. Like I know we want to be like no particular genre, you know, F genres. Oh, I guess it's not FCC. Yeah, it's like it's something to make it easier for people to write about you.
Yeah.
You know, and so make it as easy for people to find you, write about you, tag you. Because if you know you're sitting there, you're trying to tag somebody, and it's not coming up, you're gonna give up after a few seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and back to what we're talking about with people, general people being used to the instant gratification. If they can't find it in a couple seconds,
right,
people will turn away, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's what it is. You know, people are turned off by that, or if something's too complicated.
Right.
I mean, sometimes,
busy, you know.
Absolutely, and also people's attention span, especially if they're scrolling through something, is very short. You know, so if it pops up, sticks out, it's easy to remember. There it is.
Right.
You know, and that's a huge thing. So anybody looking to put themselves out there online and get on social medias with the whatever art you're doing, make sure you make it all match and make it easy to find. Appreciate it.
But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Where are the other Dragon Balls?
Ooh, I gotta find them.
I don't know in my head. So
I've only found the 4. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was
Boom! Hear that?
Sound
Hear that smacking the table, dropping Dragon Balls on the table. Yeah, I mean, like they're like the plastic, but they're heavy plastic.
It looks pretty otherworldly,
mystical.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. It's actually weird online though, so like the places that sell them, they don't have some of them for sale, so you have to go to like a different company to get them.
Are they the same size?
Yeah, I hope so. If I'm getting them from a different provider, but what I want to get them all eventually and have them all set up on, you know, like all 7 in a little case, you know, glass case, and everybody's like, "Boy, do you have the Dragon Balls?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't piss me off. I'll summon the dragon at any point." So keeping that one in the chamber.
It's good.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're more than halfway there.
Oh yeah. No, we're gonna get there. It's gonna happen. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, this has been fun. Absolutely. All right, everybody, make sure you go check out llagoband.com or at llago for just stay updated. You know, go follow them on all the social medias. Make sure to check out Tell Me How It Ends music video on YouTube. Is really cool. It's really kind of trippy and it's fun. I'll let everybody know that in Galveston, there's this really cool time of the year where this graveyard on Broadway has a bunch of yellow flowers, and they got to film it during all the yellow flowers. And
it's May, right?
Around May, yes, yeah, it just passed. So around like May or so, when the yellow wildflowers come out, it's really fantastic. Shout out Robert Joa for riding the bike and wearing that crazy thing on his head
and Becky Major.
Becky Major for
incredible costume.
The black outside.
Ryan Holloway.
Yes, the moves.
Doing the dance moves and running around in the heat.
Oh, and then Mel.
Shirt.
I don't know if people realize Mel is the first character that has the hood from Indie Tigers in Texas.
Oh.
And many people have tattoos by Mel. Mel Black.
Yeah, Mel Black has an episode. Make sure you go check out episode number 24. And then also be on the lookout. Make sure this is another reason why you should follow them. Check out these guys live. This next show in Galveston for sure is the EP show.
Yeah, October 25th.
October 25th. There's plenty of time. Please go check that out, everybody. They're fantastic. That's the first place I saw them. They were great. And just really cool band. Just make sure you check them out. And
if you meet the rest of the guys, they weren't able to be here.
Absolutely. Shout out Jake and Jaron, the 2 J's. And we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys once again. This was fun. All right, yeah, and we'll have to do another one soon with everybody. All right, guys. Artisan Depth Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, click the little bell in the top corner. Make sure you get notifications whenever new episodes are posted. If you're on Apple Podcasts. And, you know, of course, like I always say, leave some stuff in the comments. Troll me if you want. That'd be fantastic. Give me some healthy competition. Let's talk politics or something in the comments. I'm always down for a challenge. Have a lot of fun. All right, you guys. Have a good night.